el exec, el Vélez, el fenómeno que todos quieren ser, el chamaquito que no pueden entender.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to episode 165 of the Exec Talk Podcast. I am your host, Les Wasan. All right, we have arrived. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thank you for all the support. Happy New Year to everybody. Hit the comments. Follow me on my socials. We have arrived. We have arrived at the last week of NFL football. We have arrived at the last week of playoff seeding, playoff clinching. We have arrived also at the critical juncture of our semifinals in the CFP as our quarterfinals have now concluded. And the results were 3 out of 1 of what we expected. And then we have Jimmy Butler asking out of Miami, but the Warriors seem like they don't want to, so we'll see where he goes next. We have a lot of people starting today for possibly future NFL jobs, whether that's Bailey Zappi, Trey Lance for the Cowboys. We have Tanner McKee going for the Eagles because Kenny Pickett and both Jalen Hurts are hurt. Saquon is not going for the record. He is sitting out. As a fan, really bummed out. Why? The last 2,000-yard rusher was Derrick Henry. The closest guy to come within a shout, a play of Eric Dickerson's 1984 record was Adrian Peterson in 2012 when he won the MVP. When he came 9 yards short. I don't understand as a fan. Let me preface this by saying as a fan, I'm gonna explain as a team why it makes sense. Especially for the Eagles in their situation. As a fan, I have only watched now 3 2,000-yard rushers in my lifetime. I watched Adrian Peterson do it. I watched Derrick Henry do it. I just watched Saquon do it. But for a record that has stood 40 years, 40, I don't understand how Nick Sirianni, Howie Roseman, Saquon, which I think he does want to break it, the offensive line, and the team in general, Jeffrey Lurie, the owner, this is a record that, if broken, will always be with the franchise, not just the player, the franchise and the players that it took to get the record. Also, what I've been hearing in the talking heads and, your first takes and the facility and speak, even Colin Cowherd, if we go for the record, we possibly can't win a Super Bowl. When in the hell is that two mutually exclusive things? You could do both. Both have been done. Not necessarily in rushing, but they have been done in passing. Peyton Manning got 55 in the last game of the season. Talking about the touchdown record. Drew Brees broke the yardage record on the last week of the season. When he broke it, the 5,200, I think it was something like that. The passing yardage record. Megatron broke the receiving record on the last week of the season when he broke it. LT broke the rushing touchdown per year record when he got 28 on the last week of the season. So I don't understand why You have a 40-year-old record. This is not a record that's 10 years old. This is not a record that's 20 years old. This is not a record that's 5 years old. This is a 40-year record in the 100-year history of the NFL. There has been 9 people to reach 2,000. 9. And in the last 40 years, nobody's ever gotten to 2105, which is Eric Dickerson's mark. So as a fan, I don't understand why you wouldn't go for it, especially give him a half. Run the best 3 plays that you got every single first play of a series and try to break that record within the first quarter. This is 101 yards we're talking about. We're not talking about 150. We're not talking about 157. Terrell Davis, TD, went to the last week of the season while they had the number 1 seed. Shannon Sharp had this story. He needed 178 yards. That is a rushing day. That is a real challenge to get to. Guess what the offensive line said? We're going for the record. The record was 2,000. We're going for 2,000. We're that close. We're going to go for it. They did. They got it. But also, as a fan, how are you going to deny this from Saquon when you took him out of the Giants game, possibly could have gone for over 200, took him out of the Giants game. Took him out of last week's game after he got 2,000. And you lost. No, you won last week's game. When he got 2,000, took him out. So in reality, in my opinion, he would already be over it. He wouldn't even have to play this week. The record would have been his with 16 games where you don't have the asterisks of the extra game and all that. But because you took him out of the Giants game the first time when he was about to break his own single game record, and then you take him out of last week's game after he gets 2,000, now you're left with 101 yards and you don't want to play him. You don't want to play him because you haven't had a bye week since week 12. I understand that. And you need this rest for his legs. He has over 300 carries. I understand. But this is a 40-year-old record. This is a record. First of all, look at the optics of it. Against the Giants, the first year that they let him go to the division rival, when they said they couldn't pay him because he wasn't important enough and Daniel Jones was more important. And you go for the NFL rushing record? Bro, there is no better. That setup is so storybook. That setup is a movie. Saquon's redemption. Saquon's revenge. Or just Saquon. This guy's a legendary running back. He was the last guy in draft history to get drafted top 5 as a running back. He was taken number 2 overall because he was that crazy at Penn State. And even with all the limitations he had at the Giants, he was still a 1,000-yard rusher. He still broke the rookie rushing record and all that. And now he has a chance to break the all-time record in his first year with the Eagles. And you're going to sit him down after only being 101 yards away? That to me is just a little, against his former team. That's just a little, spineless by Sirianni. They said they talked to Allar, they talked to Roseman, I don't care who you talk to. This is a 40-year-old record. This is to stamp a legacy in his first 10 years in the league. And he's not even close to 10 years yet. But to have that, to be that highly touted out of Penn State, and then to be able, a kid from Pennsylvania, playing for the Philadelphia Eagles, to have that record, I think is just malpractice. But I understand that as a team, you haven't had a bye week since week 12. You're raring for a Super Bowl run. You don't have your starting quarterback. You don't want to play the offensive line. I get it. But at the same time, history sometimes requires risk. What if he gets hurt the first play of the playoffs? What if you don't get the Super Bowl? This is what you're saying. Saquon said it. Sirianni said, we have bigger plans than just this record. And every single ex-player that has been asked this question says, you better win the Super Bowl. Because if you don't win the Super Bowl, Saquon passed up a chance to be the first name in history books. Not Eric Dickerson, Saquon Barkley. Number one leading rusher in the history of the NFL for a season. That's just me. All right, let's get to what happened in the NCAA. Penn State stops Ashton Jeanty. Not completely, but they stop him. He comes, I think, a couple, like 27 yards, 23 yards short of Barry Sanders' record. The defense was insane. Madsen couldn't do much. The receivers couldn't do much. Kaytron Allen, Nick Singleton basically took over the game. Omari Adams and Tyler Warren scored the touchdowns at the beginning. Deep ball to Omari, and then the first one was like a corner. Really, really nice route. And Drew Adler, he's going to stay in school this year. Next year, he could possibly be a top 5 pick from what I'm seeing if he keeps developing. But this is what we expected. We expected Penn State to win. Okay, so we got Penn State. Texas beats Arizona. But boy, it was not easy. It was not easy. Because Arizona State fought back. And, you know, they went up 14-0. Passes to Matthew Golden, which I think played himself into possibly a top 2 round receiver. If he is not, I got to check if he's a sophomore. If he's a junior, he could leave. But so Texas, you expect Texas to blow them out, right? 14-0. And then, you know, so it's 17-3 at halftime. Texas doesn't score in the third. Arizona scores 5 on a safety and a field goal. And then Texas scored 7 in the fourth quarter. Arizona State scored 16. And then OT, Texas scores 15. Arizona 7, 39-31. But how did that happen, right? So DeAndre Moore catches a 23-yard pass, 7-3. Silas Bolden takes a 75-yard punt return, makes it 14-3. Auburn hits a field goal, 17-3. You have a Shamari Simmons safety, which he comes back after being suspended for the first half because he had a targeting call the previous game in the Big 12 championship. And then you have Carson Kiefer hits a 36-yarder, 17-8. Fourth quarter, Quinn Ewers runs in 5 yards in. It's 24-8. 10-17 left in the fourth. People thinking, oh, Texas is going to run away with this. Malik McCain catches a 42-yard pass from Cam Skattebo. Yes, Cam Skattebo, the running back. He played himself into a possibly top 2 round position. Probably 2 or 3, but not first round because, you know, he has limitations speed-wise. But 2 to 3 round pick. So it makes it 24-16. Now, this pass was incredible. Yes, the receiver needed to make an adjustment to go back to the ball, but where Skattebo put it, he allowed his receiver to get under it, right? Skattebo was getting kind of stopped. That's their best player, the running back. Was getting kind of stopped at the first half, you know, because Texas's defense is really good, all 5 stars, you know, whole 9. But then after that play, you have, in a 2-point conversion, you have Skattebo runs in for 2 yards after he took over the whole drive. Now it's 24-24 with 5 minutes left. Then Skattebo runs it in the first overtime. 24-31. Texas on 4th and goal. On 4th and goal, Quinn Ewers puts up his big boy pants and throws an absolute dot to Matthew Golden on 4th and goal. And then they get the ball. Of course, they get the ball back. And Gunnar Helm scores from 25 yards out. And then Levitt gets picked by Makuba, the Clemson transfer, to end the game. But really, really, really entertaining game. And what it shows us is that maybe Texas is a little weaker than what we thought. Definitely at the quarterback position. Because this should have been a blowout. You started off 14-0 and you made it to 2 OTs. That makes no sense to me. Okay? That makes no sense to me whatsoever. Golden's a junior. He's going to definitely go to the league. So next year they're going to have DeAndre, who's a sophomore, who would be a junior next year. And then, of course, they have the beast that is, where's Wingo? Wingo. Adam Butler, Isaiah Bond, he's leaving too. Okay, he's not on here. I don't know why Wingo's not on here, the freshman. But he's also, he'll be a sophomore next year. So they got pieces for next year too for Archie Manning because Quinn Ewers is leaving this year. But shout out to Texas. We expected that. We just didn't expect that type of outcome. Okay? Ohio State, Oregon. 34-0 at halftime. Actually, no, 34-8 at halftime. But 34-0 first and second quarter, essentially, because the touchdown happened right before the half. This is the best team in college football. Jeremiah Smith is the best player left in the playoffs, in my opinion. You had Jeremiah Smith play 45-yard touchdown on a little, like, behind the line of scrimmage, little, like, out pass. He just took it. There was nobody on that side. He outran the only guy that had an angle on him. You had Emeka Egbuka catch a dime from Will Howard, 42-yarder. That's 14-0. Fielding hits a 46-yarder, 17-0. Jeremiah Smith, another 43-yard bomb from Will Howard, 24-0. Travion Henderson runs at 66 yards. He's showing his NFL chops, 31-0. Fielding hits a 36-yard field goal, 34-0. And with zeros on the clock, Dylan Gabriel hits Trayshawn Holden for a 5-yard pass, and then pass to Justin Lowe for the 2-point conversion. But it was over since then, man. It was kind of sad to see a 13-0 team that beat Ohio State once just get absolutely manhandled like they've every time Oregon faces any Big Ten or SEC opponent in the playoffs in the past has always gotten manhandled up front. On both sides. I don't understand, even with Dan Lanning, a Nick Saban disciple, I don't understand how you can have your front lines and your D-line just get absolutely destroyed. The back end, I understand. That's just talent. But Caleb Downs, but JT Tuimoloau, Jack Sawyer, I mean, it was just nonstop. And that's the best team in college football. There's going to be the favorites. They're going to be the favorites against Texas to get to the national championship. Notre Dame beats Georgia. Another surprising one. This is the one that really surprised me. Georgia just is not the same team. Yes, Gunnar Stockton is a freshman, first start ever. I understand that. But he played pretty well. I like what I saw from the kid. I like what I saw from him. But Notre Dame's running game with Jeremiah Love and then Riley Leonard running the ball, but also, I mean, there was a lot of field goals this game. You had, it was 3-0 Georgia. Then Mitch Jeter hit up two field goals. Excuse me. Then Bo Collins catches a 13-yard pass from Riley Leonard. Then Jaden Harrison takes the 98-yard kickoff back right after the half, 20-3. Then Jaden Harrison catches, then Cash Jones catches a 32-yard pass from Stockton, 20-10. You're like, okay, there's a game here. And then Mitch Jeter hits another field goal, and that's it. Notre Dame's defense, Xavier Watts, played absolutely incredible. No Mills in the middle, but they played great. Bryce Young played great, even though he basically destroyed a kicker twice. But it's going to be very interesting, this game, this team versus that. Where is it? Texas, Ohio State, Notre Dame. Missing one. Oh, no, let me just go to CFP. Yeah, so it's going to be Penn State, Notre Dame. Ohio State, Texas. And I got to tell you right now, I'm thinking between those two programs, I'm thinking it's probably Ohio State, Penn State in the national championship. Two Big Ten schools. You have a Big Ten independent, and an SEC team that used to be a Big 12. It's probably going to be Ohio State, Penn State. And the reason I say that is because I believe Penn State's overall team is better than Notre Dame's. Just on paper, I believe Drew Adler's a better passer than Riley Leonard. And I also believe that they have better weapons, including Tyler Warren, on Penn State than at Notre Dame. Okay? All right, the NFL slate, the last one of the season. The last one. Starting today at 4:30, Ravens versus Browns. Ravens are playing everybody. And the reason why is because they want to lock up that division title, and I believe Lamar wants to go for that MVP. He has a chance to go for 1,000 yards rushing, I believe for like the third time in his career. He is going to go over 4,000, so he could possibly have 4,000 and 1,000 yards rushing, which would be ideal, essentially. It would be ideal to what you would want, okay? He has 852 yards rushing. Theoretically, he could get to 1,000. Theoretically. But he needs 150-something yards against that Cleveland defense, who's not going to just give up. But at the same time, it's Lamar. He is going to go over 4,000. He's at 3,955. And he probably will go over 40. He's at 39 touchdowns. To me, he's the MVP. I understand what Josh Allen has done with less weapons. He doesn't have Derrick Henry, but he does have the leading touchdown scorer as a runner in James Cook. But he doesn't have a Zay Flowers. He doesn't have Shaw Bateman or Mark Andrews. I get all that. But if you look at division, Lamar's in the tougher division. And Lamar's just better numbers. Now, I do understand that he has 2 MVPs, but he's outplayed both of those seasons. Both of those seasons, even when he won his unanimous MVP in 2019, he's played better than both of those seasons, especially in the pocket. 4 interceptions is nasty to 40 touchdowns. That is Aaron Rodgers. His QBR is 121.3, second all time to Aaron Rodgers' famous 123.6 season that won an MVP. I believe it was 2020 or 2021, one of those. So, I believe that Lamar should be the MVP. This is going to be a blowout. We don't have to talk about this. Cleveland's playing Bailey Zappi. That's basically all you got to know. Like, it's just done. All right, it's just done. That's the Ravens. Okay, let me do a trusty handy here. My predictions: Week 18, the last one of the season before the playoffs. Ravens. Okay. The next game is extremely important. Bengals Steelers in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh wins. They could possibly win the division. Bengals win. They leave the door open for themselves if Miami and Broncos lose tomorrow to make it to the playoffs. Everybody's playing in this game. This is a true football game. Okay? Burrow, if he has a massive game, could go over 5,000 yards, possibly 45 touchdowns. Jamar could really cement his triple crown. He has 117, 116, 12, and 16 touchdowns. He could possibly bump that up to maybe 17, 18 touchdowns. Maybe set over 1,700. And over 121 receptions, something like that. Pickens just needs 100 yards to go over 1,000. Higgins is going to play. Mims is going to play. Amarius Mims, Cam Taylor-Britt, Drew Sample. Dante Jackson will play for Pittsburgh. I'm going Cincinnati. It's in Pittsburgh, I understand. But if you're talking about an offense who you cannot stop, even though Chase Brown is probably not playing today. Okay? Probably going to be Zach Moss. If you're talking about an offense you cannot stop, if T. Higgins and Jamar Chase are on the field, you cannot stop that offense. Joe Burrow's playing at an elite MVP level. He's just not an MVP frontrunner because of their record. But he's leading the league in passing yards, and he leads the league in passing touchdowns. So I'm going to go Bengals. The predictors are 53.2 versus 46.4. I understand that the Bengals don't have a legit defense, but at the same time, Trey Hendrickson is the leading sack leader in the NFL, and I don't think anybody on the Steelers can block him. So as long as the Bengals keep themselves ahead of the chains and moving on the outside, I think that they can win, and they're more desperate. So I'm going to go with the Bengals. Okay? I think the Steelers are going to realize after this game that they have a legit problem not being able to run the ball or have legit offensive linemen. And 2, they need possibly 1 to 2 more receivers that are adequate to elevate this offense. Okay? I'm going to go Ravens. That's today. Tomorrow, Texans, Titans. You see, the Texans aren't really playing for anything. So I'm guessing they're sitting everybody. I believe so. They don't need to play anything. They won the division, so they don't need to really. Okay, but they want to knock off some rust, too, and be prepared for the playoffs. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to go with the Texans there. I don't think that that's a big deal there. I think Texans have everything they need. Panthers, Falcons. Falcons trying to keep up with the Bucks. Penix is going to play versus Bryce Young. I'm going to go Falcons. I think Penix just adds a different dynamic to that team, will really find the weapons, will really use Bijan, use Drake London, use Darnell Mooney, use Mike Kyle Pitts. And I think that they will be much, much better even if they make it to the playoffs. If they don't, I think it'd be future's bright. Bryce Young is probably going to play well, but I just think the Falcons have too much. Saints, Bucks. The Bucks need to shore up the division. Mike needs just 85 yards. 85 yards, and he has 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons, only trailing the great Jerry Rice. He's gonna do it. They're gonna make a way to hit him with the ball. Mayfield will probably go over 40 touchdowns. He's at 39. And has a chance to go over 4,500 yards. Yeah, I'm going to go with Tampa Bay against the Saints in Tampa. Okay? I don't think that that's a big deal. Plus, their defense is really, really good. All right. Next, Bills-Patriots. Bills are resting most of the starters against the Patriots. But I still think the Bills are the better team. This is when it gets janky. This is why, like, the record of Week 18, I don't really look at whether I go negative or positive. These are very, very wonky games, considering that a lot of people isn't playing for some people. Playoff spots are clinched and stuff like that. So some people are trying out for next year. So I'm going to go Buffalo Bills just because I know that they're the better team. I know that Drake May might play well and maybe pull a rabbit out of his hat, but I think the Bills are just a better team, and I think the Bills are going to do fine. Jaguars, Colts is a poop bowl. The Colts are 4.5-point favorites. AR's not playing. And I really like what I see from Mac Jones, which is crazy, and Brian Thomas Jr. Now, I don't know if Kenny Moore's going to be on Brian Thomas Jr. I don't advise it. But if that's what they want, I still think the Colts are the better team. But what I've been hearing about the Colts from Pat McAfee, no culture, no nothing. It's in Indianapolis. I'm going to go with the Colts. Just for pride's sake. I'm going to go with the Colts. Okay? It is a 3.5 point spread. It's just a hometown discount. Commanders, Cowboys, Commanders. I believe they're playing everybody. I think they're playing everybody. So Jaden, if he throws 5 touchdowns, he could get to 30. If he throws for 400-something yards, he could get to 4,000. He could also get to 1,000 rushing yards if he goes crazy on the ground with like 160 yards. CD not playing. Dak Prescott ain't going to play. It's going to be Trey Lance. So I'm going to go Washington here. Just stamp the season before the playoffs in a good way, beating the Cowboys, division rival, and in Dallas, just embarrassing them probably. Giants, Eagles, this is the game that we were talking about. This is going to be Tanner McKee. No Saquon. I think A.J. Brown's going to sit. Maybe. I haven't heard anything about that, actually, if A.J. Brown will sit or Devontae Smith will sit. Jalen Hurts ain't playing, Kenny Pickett ain't going to play. Saquon's at 2,005 yards. He ain't playing. Malik is looking to maybe get to 110 receptions, something around 112, maybe 1,200 yards, somewhere around there. 7 or 8 TDs. If he catches 2 touchdowns, he gets to 8 TDs. I'm going to go with the Eagles. They're still the better team. Tanner McKee showed me some stuff at the end of the other game. So I'm going to go with the Eagles here. to just finish 14-3. Yeah, to finish 14-3. Bears Packers. I'm gonna go with the Bears here. I think Jordan Love has a good game. Jaden Reed needs 191 yards to get to 1,000. That's not going to happen. DJ Moore needs 120 yards to get to 1,000. That might happen. Maybe. DeAndre Swift needs 106 yards to get to 1,000. That might happen. Caleb Williams needs one more touchdown pass to get to a 20 for the season. That might happen. I'm going to go with the Packers. It's in Lambeau. It's going to be cold as hell. We're going Packers here. Okay. Next, we got Seahawks Rams. Rams are resting the starters. The division's done. So Stafford ain't going to play. Kyron Williams ain't going to play. Puka Nacua needs just 10 more yards to get to 1,000. Man, if they could just put him in for one pass of like 15 yards and get him out, get him that 1,000-yard season, that'd be nice. But I think they're resting everybody. And the Seahawks are out. So Jackson Smith and Jigma needs 4 more receptions to get to 100. Yeah, man, that sucks that Puka can't get to 1,000 by 10 yards. That's incredible. To be honest, it's in Los Angeles. Rams are still favored somehow with no Matthew Stafford. Let me see here. Are they playing everybody? Let's see. Breakout season is on the verge of several milestones. Needs 5 catches to break Tyler Lockett's franchise mark. Needs 183 to pass the single season franchise record. Okay, so they're each playing. I'm going to go with the Seahawks just because everybody's playing for the Seahawks. Okay, even though it's in LA. Okay. Dolphins, Jets. Dolphins need the win. The Jets are 1-point favorites, but we need the win and have the Broncos lose for us to make the playoffs. We're one of the weakest teams in the playoffs. Unfortunately, Tyler Huntley is starting for us, not Tua. Tyreek needs 71 yards to get to over 1,000. I hope he gets there. I hope he gets there. Devon can't get to 1,000 unless he has a crazy day. And Breece Hall can get to 1,000 if he has a massive day. This is tough. 2 different type of trajectory teams. I'm going to go Miami just based on desperation. Tyler Huntley showed me a little something last week. So I'm going to go with the Dolphins as a Dolphins fan. We can beat the Jets and keep our hopes alive until Broncos either lose and we're in or they win against the Chiefs and we're out. We would be the weakest team. If we're in, we would be the weakest team in the entire playoff field. The weakest team. Based on injuries, based on play, we would just be definitely the weakest team. All right, Chiefs Broncos 16-1 or 15-2. No Mahomes. No everybody, really. No Travis Kelce, nobody. It is Carson Wentz show versus the Broncos, who's going to be playing everybody. This is a very tough game. They're giving this is an 8-point spread for the Broncos. I'm going to take that. Give me that plus 10.5 for the Chiefs. I still think that they're a really good team, even with no Mahomes. Mahomes is just going to miss out on 4,000 yards. He needed 72 yards to get to 4,000. That would have been his, I'll tell you guys right now. That would have been 1, 2, 3, 4. That would have been his 5th 4,000-yard season. He already has a pair of 2 5,000-yard seasons. But, it is what it is. Bears can't be choosers. You got the number 1 seed. You want to rest. You could have gotten to 4,000, but that's all right. It's Patrick Mahomes. He loves Lombardis, not 4,000-yard seasons. To me, Kelsey not getting to 100 is kind of a bummer. 100 receptions, considering that he has, let's see here, 1, 2, 3. This would have been his 4th 100 reception yard season, but he was close last year, 7 away. He was close 4 years ago, 92. 3 years ago, 7 years ago, he was close again, 97. So he doesn't care. He's already over 1,000 for his career. That's basically Hall of Fame mark right there. But, it'd be nice for him to get to 100, but he's not going to do it. It's fine. Cameron Sutton will go over 1,000. He's at 983. I'm sure that Bo Nix will get him over 1,000. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chiefs on the spread, but I'm going to go with the Broncos in the game just because that defense is really, really good, and the Chiefs are resting a lot of people. But I think the spread is it's a little much. Plus 10.5, minus 10.5. That's a little much. So I'm going to go with the Broncos, but Chiefs in the spread. 49ers, Cardinals, two teams that are not playing for anything. Josh Dobbs is going to play for the Niners. The Niners are a 1-point favorite. The spread is actually minus 4.5 for the Cardinals. It opened at minus 1 for 49ers. I'm going to go with the Cardinals here. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Cardinals here. I think they just have a lot of firepower. I don't think a lot of people are going to play for the 49ers. And with Josh Dobbs, I'm gonna go with the Cardinals just to try to end the year on a good note. And then finally, everything hinges on the last game of the season. The last game of the season on the last Sunday night. Vikings, Lions for all the marvels. Sam Darnold, Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, J-Mo, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, Sam Laporta, Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson, KOC, Brian Flores. This is all coming down to this game. Lions are a 3-point favorite at home. Who's playing? Everybody. Ain't nobody hurt but Montgomery and all the people on the defensive side for the Lions. Alex Anzalone maybe will play. Maybe. We still don't know. Okay? You want to talk about a tough game to call. Listen. Because of the defensive injuries that the Lions have, I don't know how this back end is going to hold down JJ, JA, and TJ. Okay? I don't understand how Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch will hold down this back end when they don't have a force rushing the passer. And I love the Lions. But I think that the Brian Flores defense, coupled with this Minnesota scorching offense with Sam Darnold, is just enough to edge out the Lions. Now, this is from 1st seed to 5th seed. Home playoff game, road game, bye week, play on wild card weekend. This is huge. But I'm leaning Vikings. I'm leaning Vikings because I just think that the amount of injuries on the Lions side, especially considering what they're facing on that offensive side, being JJ, JA, and TJ, not to mention Jalen Naylor, and then Aaron Jones in the backfield, plus Cam Akers, I just think that the Vikings are a little bit too much. Now, but the +3 spread, pretty good. Pretty good spread, +3 for the Vikings. So I'm going to go with the Vikings. I'm going to go out on a limb. I know I like my line. I like some Lions, but I just think the Vikings are humming right now. KOC has this defense really playing. I know that Ben Johnson has all the trick plays in the book. I know that MCDC is the best motivator, but I think that the Vikings pull it out very close and get the number 1 seed because of all the injuries on the defensive side of the ball. All right. Now to finish off with some NBA. The standings are as follows. Cleveland is really showing that they are possibly really going for a title with no LeBron. Their defense is incredible. They're 110.8, really incredible defense. They're on a 9-game winning streak. And just showing that the combination of a more unlocked Evan Mobley, a healthy Darius Garland, a still locked-in Donovan Mitchell, paid, and Jared Allen, along with the pretty good supporting cast, is doing their job. Now, this is in the regular season. We've seen this before. We got to wait till the playoffs. Boston's just sitting there 4.5 games back in second. Nothing crazy. The Knicks are playing great. They're 6.5 games back. They're third. Orlando just lost Jalen Suggs for the season, probably. He had a non-contact back injury in yesterday's game. Even with all the injuries, this is still the best defense in the league at 103.4. And they're still fourth. They're 2 games up on Milwaukee. Probably going to lose that eventually now that Suggs is gone with no Paolo, no designated to return yet. Franz either from those oblique injuries. And then no Mo because he's done with the ACL. And we'll see what Jalen Suggs happens. Milwaukee's 12 back, 5th seed. Miami is 12 back, 6th seed. What's going to happen with Jimmy Butler? We don't know. He already got suspended 7 games by Pat Riley for conduct detrimental to the team. That came down yesterday. Atlanta's 12.5 games back, and they're in 7th seed, half a game back from the 6th seed. Indianapolis, the Pacers, they're 13.5 games back. They're in the 8th. Detroit, 14 games back, even though they lost Jaden Ivey to a broken fibula for the season in a breakout season that he was averaging 17. We'll see what Cade, Allar, Jalen Duren, what they do now. Maybe Holland goes into the starting lineup or a Beasley. We'll see. Chicago's at 15 back in the 10th spot. Lonzo Ball, Kobe White. Now they said that next year Derrick Rose's number is going to be retired, the number 1. So that's all nice and good, but they're not going nowhere. They're still 10th. Philadelphia, 16 games back, 1 game back of the 10th spot. They'll probably catch that up and finally be starting to recover, although they're behind a mile. Brooklyn fell off of the top that they had at the beginning of the season. They're 12th, 13 and 21, 17 games back. Still only 2 games back, but got rid of Torian Finney-Smith. Got D'Lo. Haven't seen him play yet because I haven't seen the highlights for the last 2 games. But I don't think Brooklyn's going nowhere. I think they're just going to get rid of players. Cam Thomas, Cameron Johnson, they have some good young pieces, and people are probably going to start picking at them. Toronto's done. They're 22.5 games back. Charlotte's at 22.5 games back. Washington's at 23 games back. They suck. OKC's now 6.5 games above Memphis at the 2 spot. 14-game winning streak for the OKC Thunder. The second best defense in the league behind the Magic. Actually, no, they're just a little bit better. 103.3 to 103.4. And a pretty good offense. Okay? They are 16-2 at home, 13-3 on the road. They're 29-5. Balling. SGA looking like an MVP. Memphis is 6.5 games back. They're playing well. Jaws hurt right now, but they're playing well. Houston 7 games back, just a half game back of second. They're playing really well. The Lakers have made it to 4th. They're 9 games back. Denver's 9.5 games back in the 5th seed. Dallas is 9.5 games back in the 6th seed. Just half a game from 4 to 6. Then you have a game back is the Clippers. Then you have San Antonio in the 8th spot, just 2 games back of the Lakers at 11 games back. Golden State's at 11.5 games back, and Minnesota's 11.5 games back. That's your 9 and 10. Phoenix is at 13 games back. They're already losing ground. Sacramento's at 13.5 games back. Portland 17.5, Utah 21, and New Orleans 23.5 games back. They're done. Okay. As for the stats, Giannis is still leading the league in scoring at 32.4. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is now in second, 31.2. Then you have Jokic at 31, Tatum at 28.2, and De'Aaron Fox at 26.7. It's a big drop there. Trae Young is still number 1 in assists, 11.9. Jokic is number 2 at 9.7. Cade Cunningham, 9.5. He's steadily been rising throughout the season. LeBron at 8.9 and Tyrese Halliburton at 8.8. Lonzo's still making the most threes a game, 4.5. Steph is now at 4.3. Edwards is at 4. Tatum is at 3.9. Tyler Hero's at 3.9. Karl Anthony Towns still at 14 rebounds a game. Victor's at 3.9 blocks a game. And Dyson Daniels at 3.2 steals a game. That is it. That's it, guys. I love you guys. This has been episode 165 of the Exec Talk Podcast. I am your host, El Velez, the Exec. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Hit the comments. Follow me on all my socials. I love you all. Happy New Year. God bless. And I leave you all with the outro.
Que todos quieren ser el chamaquito que no pueden